What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ and Bucky. Buck, congratulations on your Dodgers playing in a World Series tonight. I will not be watching. I'm going to sit that one out. Thankfully, hopefully you have a high school game Friday night, so you won't be watching either.
I do, but DJ, I just feel so bad because, like, we got friend of the program, Dave Roberts, right? Who's been on the thing, and I just feel like it's so bad that you won't support a guy that's a friend of the program. Like,
no, I like that. He's a San Diego guy.
Like, you get along, you have similar wavelengths when it comes to like calm demeanor, and yet
we're both John Gordon. We both have good relationship with John Gordon.
Right. Southern California guy. Dodgers in Southern California. I mean, it just seems like it would be a thing where you could just temporarily cast aside your allegiances to jump on board the blue train.
No, I'm a Bible believing guy who is always going to root for David. You want to be the team Philistine over there. Why? Go ahead, be team Philistine over there.
Why do we have to be?
I'm just hoping the Blue Jays have smoothed those stones, Buck. I hope they've smoothed those 5 little stones. That's what I'm hoping. Oh man, that's hey. You know what? It was interesting. I want to get on that real quick because I was talking to a baseball GM the other day, and I love. Talking about team building and different things. And we were talking about the Dodgers. And our buddy Matt Money Smith did an interview with Friedman on the field the other day. And I saw it. Did you see that?
He was feisty.
He was very feisty. He was kind of like, people aren't giving me our credit. And all, like the little engine that could. I was like, spare me on that whole thing. But he did make a point, and I brought this up with a GM. Mm-hmm. We had a good conversation about it because he said, the thing people don't understand about our team is they look at all the money and the high priced players and all that stuff, but they don't see that Mookie and Freddie are out here every day putting in extra work. And it goes back to that thing with Tony La Russa, right? When your best players are your best workers and your best leaders, then you really got something. And I think that is, that's a fascinating thing. And this GM I was talking to was saying, those guys are so motivated internally that the money didn't change them, the status, the accolades, the World Series titles, none of that stuff changed them. They still work like that. And I was talking to my guys up in Seattle with Brock and Salk, and I was asking them about this Mariners team that had such a great run. And I said, are your best players, your best leaders, your best workers? And they said, yeah, Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez are their unbelievable workers and all. I'm like, you know what? It just crosses over all sports, man. When you got a really good thing going, that usually is the case.
And it's not only about being the best workers. We'll use the Dodgers, but I'll carry it over to the NFL. So the Dodgers, it's not only about them being the best workers, but they have a knack where their best players don't have envy or jealousy that comes out, right? So you don't see Mookie Betts begrudging Freddie Freeman or Shohei for their success. They appear to be all in the same thing where they really genuinely celebrate when their teammates have successful forays. So when I think about this and I think about some of the stuff that the Eagles may be just kind of trying to work through right now, where it seems like they're good, but maybe they're not at times. And you have the cryptic stuff when you just think about, man, winning should be the cure-all for everything. If we win, we all get celebrated in those things. And I do believe, and I continue to believe in the things that we're taught when we're little playing Pop Warner or Little League basketball or baseball. Man, if you pour into the team will pay you back tenfold. And the Dodgers have seemingly got that. And some of these NFL teams, if they can get their best players to buy all the way into the fabric of the team, they'll get all the rewards that they want individually in time.
Yeah, I was talking to a dad of a high school player the other day, and his son was not having the year that he wanted to have, statistically or what have you. And I actually, kind of going back to the baseball thing, I pay attention to the Dodgers as much as I don't really care for them. But Mookie had a really tough time through the first half and beyond the first half of the year. And then he'd been trying to work his way out of it. And then finally one day he said, look, my numbers are gone. Like, I'm not going to get the numbers that I want. Like, I'm giving up on looking at that. I'm not even going to pay attention to it. But what I can do is I can show up every day to the ballpark and do one thing to help my team win, whether that's make a play at shortstop, whether that's steal a base, base running, whatever. I'm going to try and contribute. So I was talking to this dad and I said, hey, tell him to stop looking at the stats and where he is for the season. Just, hey, the only number you care about is wins. And you're going to try and every game, try and go out there and just help your team find a way to a win. And if you find your way to a win and then you learn through this whole process, like every game, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to learn something in practice. I'm going to learn something in the game. If you just focus on winning and learning, then all the other stuff that ends up taking care of itself.
It does, DJ. And it's the hardest thing at every level, right? I believe it's the hardest in the NFL level because as much as I want to tout the ideals of, hey, we're a team and those things, you really have 53 independent contractors who want to win, but they want to make sure that their individual numbers are up to par so they can have a lucrative career. So how do you bridge that gap between your individual agendas and the team agenda? Where the one thing that coaches were trying to convince them on, hey, I know what the end game is and what you want to do, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But what I can guarantee you is that the team that wins and hoists the trophy, all those guys, their rates, the inflation goes up because everyone wants winners. So if you just trust and believe and buy into the team, you will get rewarded in the end. And it still sounds kind of pie in the sky, kind of hokey to try and get grown-ups or professionals to buy into that. But we see it year after year. The teams that fully check the egos at the door, focus on being a part of the success, giving up your own stuff to just be a contributor, those are the players that ultimately are rewarded when they do hit the open market.
And I would advise those players too, because I know a lot of attention went to Cam Newton when he said, I'd rather have the individual success. That's how I take care of my family than the team success. At the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do. And I totally 100% get that. And I would say the quarterback position is a little different. Mm-hmm. But those other positions, I would say, team success. What happens when you're unselfish and you do things that help you, win and you have team success? When you have team success, guess what happens? The people in your front office, they scatter around the NFL and get jobs. The people on your coaching staff, they scatter around the league and get jobs. And when you have earned a reputation within that group of someone who does all the right things, who works hard, who's unselfish, you will have a job for a very long time in this league.
Yeah, no matter what, man, there are people that are always looking for glue guys that are the behind the scenes contributors, the guys that kind of keep it together in the clutch, the guys that when called upon, they make the plays that are expected to be made, and it may not be a notable star. There's always a role for those players, and there's always a spot for those players. A lot of times people have a tough time believing. The other part, everyone wants to be a star in this league, but at some point you have to come to the realization when you look around to have enough awareness to be like, you know what? My path to success or my path onto the roster and beyond is to do this thing. Even though I want to be the great starter, I may have to be the best special teams player until I have an opportunity to be that starter here or somewhere else. Can you focus in and lock in and do what's necessary to help your team so then eventually you can get what you want? A lot of people have to understand the sacrifice that is needed to be part of a championship team.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's fascinating conversation to have when you're looking at individual success, team success, and how that all factors into trying to accomplish both goals, as everybody should have, your individual goals and your team goals. Buck, there's 4 games I want to get to here, talking about this upcoming week, and I want to ask you about one of the teams in each of these games because they're on a little bit of a heater this year, and I want to see if you think it's real, or if this is, I don't want to say a mirage, but you're not sold yet. Okay, let's start first of all, the Bears and the Ravens. If I told you before the season, one of these two teams was 4-2 and one is 1-5, I don't know many folks would have thought it would be the 4-2 Bears traveling to take on the 1-5 Ravens. Obviously, some injuries there, including Lamar Jackson. But 4-2 Bears, they stay on this pace, Buck. This is a playoff team. Is this real? I'm
not going to say it's real. And the only reason why I say it's not real is because I believe the two teams that they have to deal with in the division are much better in terms of the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. I'm encouraged by the Bears, but I don't know if it's sustainable just in terms of looking at their team and wondering if they can take it up a notch to match those other teams when they're playing at their best. Ben Johnson's done a really good job rebuilding the running game. They can lean into it. DeAndre Swift has been the best version that we've seen. Caleb Williams is getting better each and every week. I just don't know if from a championship maturity standpoint, if they have enough to compete with the Lions and the Packers right now. So I can't say it's sustainable.
Yeah, this will be a good test for them going on the road here against the Ravens. I'm going to be a little bit bullish because I think the way they're running the football, and they've made that change at left tackle, which has been a good one for them. That's going to be more sustainable. I think putting this all on Caleb at this point in time, not so much, but I think they're balanced it out pretty good, and he just keeps getting better. I think they got a real chance to be a playoff team. This one may be the most surprising. Mm-hmm. The 4-2 Bills going to take on the 4-3 Panthers. Hey, now the Carolina Panthers are 4-3, man. I think I've picked them to lose like every week, so I got egg on my face.
I mean, I saw them in the season opener, and they have gotten much, much better because that season opener, they were not very good, but they have found a way. And J.C. Horn is terrific. The defense is beginning to pick it up.
Brown's been awesome.
I mean, they have some intriguing things, but I'm going to be real with you right now. I have a hard time thinking that they're going to be able to continue to do it because as talented as their young guys are, I still feel like there's a gap between them and the what we call the serious contenders. So it's a nice story. I just don't believe that they can sustain it because I don't know if they have enough marquee players to be able to go toe-to-toe with the heavyweights.
Yeah, and Bryce Young has been okay, and he's hurt. He's nicked up. So we'll see.
But the running game, I will say this.
Their running game and their defense are legitimate.
They have found a running game. Dowdle has been a revelation. And then you're right, the defense. So that might be enough to get it done. And look, man, they mollywopped the Atlanta Falcons 30-0. So I can't discount them from being able to maybe climb and kind of swipe the division.
Yeah, I also think you have an offensive line that's just better equipped to run block than to pass protect. They're just more of a mauling physical group. So I think they've, everybody, we always talk about it, right? Every team has a winning formula. It's up to you to figure out what it is and execute it. And they've kind of figured it out. We're going to run the football with this offensive line and in the backs that we have, and we're going to play really good defense and hope that's enough to get it done. Now, they haven't beat the world beaters. You mentioned the Falcons. That's a great win for them. But you get the Jets in there, the Dolphins in there. This will be a really good test. I'll say this. If they beat the Buffalo Bills, who should be highly motivated coming off of the egg that they just laid, I'll buy in on the Panthers. So this is a big week for them. All right, the Cowboys, the Broncos. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because the Broncos are 5-2, which isn't a surprise to me. I don't think you either. We knew what they had on the defensive side of the ball. And we knew that, there's a very good marriage between quarterback and head coach play caller. So that's not really a surprise. I think the surprise to me is the 3-1 Cowboys and how they're humming right now offensively.
Well, look, I'm going to say this. If they had more wins in the column, Dak Prescott would be in that MVP conversation because he is absolutely cooking with gas in Brian Schottenheimer's offense. Just the way that he is getting the ball out, the weapons that they have on the perimeter. I'll say that CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, that is a hell of a combo on the perimeter. Jake Ferguson being able to catch it over the middle, they're able to run the football. I mean, they can put points up on anybody, but they also can give up as many points as anybody they face. But they've been good enough to find it. I'm just curious to see how are they going to handle the success that they have when they don't have a notable pass rush. It's just it just goes against everything that we talk about in team building.
Yes. They don't have one yet. Jerry Jones he's been hinting, Buck, that maybe we've got something brewing. Maybe we got Cowboys going to be active here at the trade deadline potentially. We'll see what they do.
How many teams are? I mean, I guess if you talk about the Dolphins are maybe going to give up a pass rush too, but how many teams are really trying to give up a marquee pass rusher?
I don't know. I wonder what it would cost on Trey Hendrickson.
Ooh, that's a good one. And you know what? Stylistically, he's their right kind of guy for Matt Eberflus's defense.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of a fun one.
But no, hold on, listeners. Whenever DJ drops something like this, I kind of feel like there's some bird droppings. And so we're going to look up, we're going to finish the pod, and we're going to be like, look.
No, you know me well, and there's probably 8 to 10 teams that I've pretty dialed in with. Neither one of those teams are in that bucket. So that's that's all speculation and hearsay. But I am buying the Cowboys offense, and I do think they need more on defense if they're going to be a playoff team or be a serious contender there in the NFC East. All right, Packers, Steelers. Packers 4-1-1, especially after the Parsons trade. That's not a surprise at all. The Steelers 4-2 though, and running away with that division. I would classify that as a surprise.
Yeah, that is a surprise. And I was really ready to go all in until the Cincinnati Bengals had their way with them.
That was not ideal.
That was trouble. And I know the Steelers are prone to give away a game that they're expected to win, and then they flub it. But it just makes I have a tough time trusting them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen this movie. So I felt like we saw this movie last year where they got out to the great start and we're saying, okay, they're going, and they floundered down the stretch. Yeah, I don't know. And then how long can Aaron Rodgers continue to play? And I'm not saying that he's playing at a high level, but how long can they keep him upright? He's 40 plus. I mean, that age is a factor in this, in cold weather and all this other stuff. I don't know how long he can continue to play at a level that is commensurate with winning.
They got to get their communication dialed in on the back end, man. Like that's defensively is my biggest concern with the Steelers and what they're doing back there. They're just getting carved up last week. That's tough to get that out of my mind. What we saw there offensively, I think they're going to be okay. I think Aaron's getting more comfortable. I think they're going to be just fine there. By the way, is that a good enough lead for them? I mean, the Ravens are 1-5, man. I don't see the Bengals catching them. I know they just beat them, but I don't think the Bengals are going to catch them. The Browns aren't doing anything. I don't know. I think this is their division. They have to really blow this thing at this point in time.
They would have to really blow it. The only thing that I'll say is the Ravens schedule lightens up.
It's very light
now, and it's super light. And all it takes is them to snatch down a win against the Bears and kind of get that feeling back where everyone knows, because we all hailed this team as one of the more talented rosters, their Super Bowl front runner, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that talent is still there. Can they fix the defense over the bye week? And can Lamar Jackson put on his magic shoes and take it over if he needs to take it over?
Yeah, no, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. By the way, I was looking at some of the other games this weekend, and I don't know why it hit me, but if you're the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know if they would do the trade inside the division. We already have seen one trade inside the division with the Joe Flacco trade. Obviously, that's the most important position, the quarterback position. Any chance at all that the Giants would say, Kayvon Thibodeau, what do you give me, Dallas, for him?
The only reason you do that, if you feel like that person's never going to come back to hurt you. Like there's an arrogance about you. They're like, he's a good player, but we don't feel like he's going to be impactful enough. That'd be interesting because you would help a division rival. And if he is the missing piece to enable the Dallas Cowboys to get into the playoff tournament, you kick yourself.
I'm looking at that going, I've still got Burns and Abdul Carter and Dexter, and I can take whatever asset I get there to put another weapon around my young stud quarterback that we love in Jackson Dart. I could talk myself into that. I think if I were the Giants, depending on what you could come away with.
I guess is how sweet it is. What would be the number for you? What would be
I'd do it for a 3.
Ooh, you really ready to move on?
I'd take a 3 right now. Give me a 3. That's going to be that's either going to be an offensive lineman or another weapon. I'm going to get Malik Neighbors back next year. I got Cam Scattaboo. I am 2026. We are cooking with gas up there with the Giants.
Man, you're all in. You're like the wave of excitement. Man, if they don't blow that game against the Broncos, do you understand how excited?
I know.
I mean, like just to give
3-4, they'd be 3-4, right? Yeah, they'd be 3-4, knocking on 500 with a chance to go, beat the Eagles for the second time in a month. Whew.
That'd be a lot.
They've been playing good ball. They're playing good ball. They let one get away.
Yeah, they just didn't finish the game up.
All right. Well, again, this is going to be an interesting week. Keep an eye. I think this is kind of that time. I know we talk about 4 games in, you kind of learn about a team. I feel like kind of right now we're at that. There's a lot of teams on that teetering line. Like, what are they? Who are they? And I think we find out a lot about that.
Yeah, I mean, we're almost at the midpoint. Now we're beginning to figure out who you are from an identity standpoint, and the real teams, the contenders, will begin to separate from the pretenders at this point.
Do you think we see a lot of trades, by the way, as we're getting a little bit closer to this deadline?
I think we have a lot of conversation, but I don't think there are many notable names. I always will leave myself open for one big splash, but I think we may see some trades, but it'd be like the unheralded guys that can move around.
I would tell everybody, keep an eye on injuries this week. And that'll go a long way into figuring out what we have from a trade standpoint and see if some teams get desperate if they lose some guys this week. So be on the lookout for that. Again, this is a real quick one today. We had a jam, but hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with a full recap of all of this weekend's action. Appreciate you hanging with us right here on Move the Sticks.